Well, that went a bit better than usual. I walked over to the lantern and picked it up. Come on, it's starting to get to sunup, and I want to register you guys as temporary residents first thing in the morning. Brock and Breck got up.
We're to be registered. Our intel posited that you were a species unaccustomed with alien life. Why are you so sure this process will be quick?
I'll tell you on the drive. For now, I just want to find my car and sit down on something that isn't a rock or a stick. I took out my phone and checked my GPS. It's about a mile that way. Let's get going. I started walking and the two aliens followed me. Once we got to my car, I realized there'd be an issue. Someone's gonna have to get in the trunk. You're both too big to fit in the back seats while they're up, so I'm putting them down. One of you can fit up front in the meantime. Who's it gonna be? They looked at each other before Breck raised his hand. We got in with Breck sitting in the front and Brock lying down in the back. Even with the seat as far back and down as it could go, Breck still had to compress his legs to fit in the front. Once everything was set, I turned on the lights and we were off. So here's the deal. From what I hear, most planets tend to be pretty uniform in capabilities. They have a certain level of technology that applies to the populace as a whole, and that informs their entire experience with other worlds and phenomena of that nature. Is that correct?
Yes, that's about accurate, as far as our observations have shown throughout our conquest.
The car hit a bump.
Ow.
Sorry, this one technically counts as a state road, so the town can't touch it.
You are not forgiven. Ow.
Anyway, Earth is a bit weird. I don't remember the exact scientific explanation of things, but long story short, we seem to be the nexus of a lot of different energies. All over the world, we've got normal humans, but we've got other things too. Monsters, sentient and not, people who seem to be immortal, random points where technology outraces the rest of society. I don't know what the other planets have in terms of folklore, but here you'd be hard-pressed to find a story told by anyone that isn't true in one way or another.
If that's the case, why didn't our intelligence report this? We've been checking communications throughout the world in order to understand the threat your planet poses when we invade.
Well, I wasn't there for it, given my great-grandparents weren't even born when it happened. But give or take a century ago, one of those stories decided to make a special spot for these anomalies. Back in the day, a lot of them would end up persecuted or hunted. Sometimes it was because they themselves were dangerous. Other times it was because they tended to attract danger and the ones nearby would be hurt if they didn't have anywhere else to go. So our mayor said, and when you meet him I think you'll find this an accurate impression,
I have a whole heck of a lot of land here in my name. Enough for a town, and then some. Maybe I can give them a home. Plus, if they all brought the danger around here, the only people affected would be those that can't protect themselves.
Thus, Guildtown was born. That's what the brochure says anyway. Probably was a bit harder than that, but as it is, we have a special agreement with the United States government. We get a bit more independence and freedom than most towns, and in return, we take in anyone from anywhere who's got weird stuff in their lives and prevent that weird stuff from spreading.
So I take it this town is not widely communicated about.
We don't have a law preventing it, but we also try to make sure too much about the town doesn't get out. Just seems safer that way. I yawned. Brock thought this meant I wasn't paying enough attention and reached for the lantern. If you wanted to try it out, you just had to ask. Brock froze, seeing my eyes switch between the rearview mirror and the road. He waited there, still as a rock, seeming to think I was some sort of T-Rex from Jurassic Park. I'm not kidding. Go ahead. Try to lift it. 5 of whatever currency you guys use says that you couldn't budget an inch. Brock took the challenge, grabbed the hilt of the lantern, and tried to pick it up. No dice. It was stuck there like a monument. He progressively tried to put more force into it, but nothing changed other than his breathing. After a few minutes, he gave up.
How? There's no way you're stronger than me.
2 words. Get good. Brock growled. I'm kidding. It's magic. The growling continued. Okay, that time I actually wasn't kidding. It actually is magic. Long story short, the lantern represents the power of the world itself. Only someone the Earth believes belongs to it is able to pick it up. Hence, no aliens.
I've read much about countless worlds and have never heard of such a weapon. What makes this planet special?
I don't know. We've talked it over with more friendly aliens, parallel dimensions, alternate realities. Nobody could figure it out, and any long-term studying of the lantern meant we couldn't use it when needed, so we just leave it alone.
So, it can't be lifted by non-Earthlings, and it can transform into multiple weapons. Why does...
Hold on. Look, the deal was to trade information for shelter. I'm willing to play more 20 questions later, but for now, I need some answers from you.
Understood.
All right. So, this Avanian Empire, is Avanian a species or a group?
I don't know if you could call it either.
What do you mean?
You have noticed that Brock and I look identical?
Yeah, I just figured it was some sort of speciesism.
No. The truth is we are both clones.
Huh. So an episode 2 situation.
Oh, what?
Nothing. Keep going.
Okay. Avanians are separated into two groups, male and female. For humans, I believe something similar happens for reproductive purposes. But for us, it's because there are two beings. The original Avanians, one male and one female. For reasons I don't know, they were the last of their kind and incapable of proper reproduction. So they came up with a strategy. Dama, the male, was naturally physically gifted and suited for combat and strategy. He would go out and gather any necessary resources. Vaya, the female, was technologically gifted and a terrific scientist. She would build using the resources Dama gathered to make what he could never imagine on his own. And in time, they created a machine that gathered their DNA and cloned themselves. It worked. Brock and I are clones of Dama. May he outwork his opponent.
Wow, okay. Very episode 2 then. So, what, did Dama and Vaya decide to rule the universe or something? Why are you guys going around invading people?
Sometime after we reached a population of 1 billion, they both flew away into space. At first, we waited for them to come back, but years passed and we hadn't heard anything. Then, we started dying. Wars broke out between us once our leaders were considered to be gone entirely. We can last a long time, but you've seen violence can still kill us. As we dwindled, we tried to clone more using the cells of the original clones, but something was wrong. Somehow, there was less to them. They didn't think or feel the same way the originals did. They all had the same talents, but no personality. And some would go on to die earlier than Avanians were expected to. Some through age, others by their own hands.
Eesh. So I'm guessing the reason you're invading planets is to find Dama and Vaya?
Yes. The first inhabited planet we checked said they had not seen them, but the females created a device that scans for Avanian presence within a certain distance, and we found a sealed room, where it appeared some Avanians had been tortured. They hadn't done it to us, so we conquered the world and found records indicating that they kept someone that seemed like Dama prisoned for half their revolution around the sun. He had managed to escape, though, so we had to go back on the search. But we learned our lesson. We're there to find Avanians and save our people. Letting anything other than an invasion slow us down and checking gives them time to possibly kill him or her. That is why we came.
Damn. Well, I've got more questions, but that can wait. We've arrived. Fellas, welcome to the mayor's office. We all got out of the car and look at an 80-foot tall building with a front door about 40 foot tall.